Never give up. Here I am, Julie Brown from juliebrownyoga.com and anandabhakti.com, and I am getting ready to show you some fat people yoga hacks. So go ahead and watch my intro video to find out what fat people yoga hacks are. And for those of you who have watched that, let's get started. So what I'm going to show you today specifically is for people who have got extra weight on their wrists or who don't feel strong enough to hold a traditional plank with the knees lifted and the body straight and the core engaged. So there are multiple ways to go ahead and do this without avoiding it altogether. So the first thing that I want to tell you is holding your hand at a 90-degree angle is not going to be easy. Like you can see, I have difficulty with it. So you're going to want to try to straighten out the front of the wrist a little bit. But how can you do that without just pressing the pads of the hands into it, right? It's really kind of impossible and can cause you stress fractures, pain, joint issues, inflammation, arthritis in your hands when you tend to do that. So I'm going to show you some ways to relieve pressure off of the wrists, to engage the muscles a little bit more in the arms, and also to learn how to stack your joints. A lot of the poses in yoga that you hold for longer periods of time really need to have joints stacked in order to hold those poses. You need to have engagement in muscles and stacked joints. Your muscles actually help support your joints. And you're not going to go to a yoga class and learn all of this the first time you go, but you are going to learn in here how to adapt to a yoga class. And so a couple different things I'm going to show you how to use is an extra mat. Most studios have extra mats. Most studios do not have these, but you can get these. They're kind of like these foam rubber jelly things. I love them. You can use them for wrists or knees. You can pretty much find one of these microfiber blankets anywhere. This one has the sticky things on it, but what it's really for is to soak up sweat on your mat. But you can find them all over, Target, places like that. Sorry, I have a cat over here that's trying to knock stuff down because I'm a cat lady. But yeah, so you can find these about anywhere, and they're pretty decently priced, like under 20 bucks. And then a yoga blanket. So I would probably say 90% of studios have yoga blankets. But usually you bring the sweat towel on your own. You buy the jellies on your own. You take your own yoga mat and then you borrow one from them. That's a pretty good thing to try. Let's look at what plank looks like from here. So you want to try to get your hands underneath your shoulders, okay? You want your fingers to be spread out as wide as you can, and you want to try to press into the mat with the area right here. That kind of fleshy area right between your first finger and your thumb. You don't want to roll onto the pinky side of your hand. It twists your wrists. So you want to try to press the weight evenly, and it helps if you focus mostly in the area right here to press the weight. So my joints are stacked. My wrists are underneath my shoulders. And one thing you can try doing is retracting the shoulders and then press away. Okay? A lot of vinyasa style classes will have you do that. You also don't really want your elbows to go ahead and go out. This also twists the wrists. You want to rotate the elbows towards the back wall so that if you bend the elbows, it drops your chest towards the floor. Okay? So doing that is actually going to help engage the triceps. Here, you're twisting the wrist. And you don't want to open up like a traditional push-up. That's also not what you want to do in yoga. You want to keep your hands on the mat and you want to try to get as close to stacking the joints as you possibly can. So let's try this a couple times. Elbows are out and you want to bring them in and make sure that you can bend them towards the back wall. And if you need to press some weight back to kind of learn how to do this, that's fine. Now let's see what that looks like from the side. Okay, so you've got hands underneath shoulders, fingers spread wide, and you're going to get that rotation in there. So elbows aren't going to point out, they're going to point back, backwards. Okay, so here's what happens if they point out. Here's what happens if you draw them in and bend them backwards. One thing that I like to think about doing this is actually a rotation in the shoulder. Okay, so here you are hunched. Think about rolling your shoulders forward and bringing them up to your chin and your jaw. Now roll them back and down, and that's going to help you hug the elbows in. Okay, so if I hunch my shoulders and try to hug my elbows in, it's harder. You can see how they bow out a little bit. But if I don't hunch, draw them back and down, you can see how they're better in line. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's where the elbows need to point because you want to activate the triceps. Okay, so if you're like a lot of people, here you are feeling way too much pressure on the wrists. So we're going to create a little bit of space in the front of the wrists with these jobbers. Okay, again, these are my favorite. They're about 10 bucks a piece. You're going to lift up the palm a little bit. You're still going to spread the fingertips and try to evenly disperse the weight. Okay, that's going to actually create more length in the front of the wrist. So you're like, I don't have money to do that. So maybe you have one of these laying around. Okay, so you're going to put it on the mat where your palms would be. You're going to take the heels of your hands only. So only this part of your hand, okay, is lifted. That's going to create less of an angle in the front of your wrists. And you may not be able to really tell from this angle how much less, but it actually creates a lot less pressure. Okay? And when we get down here, you're actually at a straight angle before the elbows drop. So you're like, oh, I don't have one of those either. But you go to a yoga class and they have a blanket. Don't do this. Whatever you do, please don't do this. This actually does not increase, it lessens and puts more pressure on your wrists. Again, heel of the hand lifted. You can see, here I am. It does cause less pressure, but make sure that you're not just rolling onto the pinky side. You want to press the inside weight here. That's going to help you continue to press flat. So you get to a yoga class late and they don't have any blankets left, but they have a yoga mat. Okay, so I'm going to have you roll it a couple times, and it's going to depend. You may be able to work this down. Having a yoga mat there is really nice because it's going to stick and you're not going to move on it. But it is going to be the same concept, okay? Spread the fingers out wide, heel of the hand up on here, okay? Make sure that your thumbs aren't twisting, your joints are stacked. Then you find yourself here in plank. That's how you're going to hold plank. So I hope that you've enjoyed this hack. No moving of flesh yet in this series, but you know, this will help with your joints and helping you build that strength. So let me know if you have any questions, or if this doesn't work for you and you need another way to work it out, just let me know. I am extremely good at brainstorming and I will help you figure it out. Have a great day.